back 2 miles. Shooting up into the sky.
We are on a jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys.
So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Welcome to the land of the Golden Pharaohs and the
Daily News Podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the Daily News Podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source from ABC News. Breaking news, live events, streaming nonstop. Original breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, and it's all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live. It's that easy to go there.
The Americans here on the ground and the Iraqis.
18,000 tons. Patatas. Ismail? David.
Over ground zero from Hurricane Michael.
You can see just home after home.
David, nice to meet you.
This was your view.
My favorite view.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm grateful you woke up this morning.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, sunshine. We've been waiting for you. Say good morning.
Good morning, sunshine.
In America. Say good morning. I want you to wake me up.
Right now, how do you make sense of it all?
If you're like me, searching the internet all day and going through social media, it can be terrifying, and that's why we're here.
Now, afternoons on ABC. One place here for you with the good information you need.
How do you help your family, your kids, your friends deal with all of this?
Answering all your questions.
We are all in this together, and we're going to get through this together.
Pandemic, what you need to know. Afternoons at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC.
Welcome back. We have Dr. Jen Ashton here. And Dr. Jen, you and I have talked a lot about exercising while we're in quarantine. And I've certainly noticed people out on these very rural running paths that I'm on. But every now and then I will see someone running with a mask on. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, Amy, I've been getting a lot of questions about this on social media because people are trying to follow the recommendations from the CDC of wearing some kind of face covering when they're outside. But at the same time, people who are exercise fanatics or just trying to go outside once a day for some exercise are confused whether they need to wear a mask while running, biking, or walking. If so, does it make it better, harder, worse, better? Interesting topic. So a couple of things. Number one, distance is important. So if you live in an area where your running path or walking path or bike path is packed with people, absolutely you need to wear some kind of mask or face covering. As we heard from Becky Worley, the fit and the fabric potentially do play a role, but remember, there's a difference between wearing a mask when you're just at work or, going grocery shopping and when you're actually breathing vigorously. In some cases, it can make that harder. There can be skin reactions as the mask gets wet with sweat and condensation just from our respiration. And in some cases, professional athletes will say, well, it actually gives you a little bit of an exercise stress test and can make the exercise a little more strenuous. But again, we have to caution, you do have to be able to move air through that mask. So get something that fits well, get something that you can wear, and don't assume that just because you're on a bike path, you don't need to cover your face.
All right, Dr. Jen, you'll be back in just a bit answering viewers' questions. Stay with us.
Right now, how do you make sense of it all? Now, afternoons on ABC, one place with the good information you need.
We are all in this together, and we're going to get through this together.
Pandemic, what you need to know. Afternoons at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. Friday nights, 9, 8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt, True Crime, 2020. Friday nights, 9, 8 Central on ABC.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner of 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including the most prestigious honor, Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news choice. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source from ABC News. Breaking news, live events, streaming nonstop. Original breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, and it's all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want.
ABC News Live. Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live. It's that easy to go there.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm grateful you woke up this morning.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, sunshine. We've been waiting for you. Say good morning. Good morning, sunshine. In America. Say good morning. I want you to wake me up.
ABC News, America's #1 news source. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
Thank you to the doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals,
and first responders.
Thank you to everyone keeping our supermarkets, pharmacies, gas stations running.
Thank you to all the essential workers for all that you do.
We thank you.
We thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For all you do.
And with every challenge, question, concern, we'll be here for you every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Because we will
get through this together.
Thursday, it's Jesse Reyes in a live morning concert. Only on Good Morning America. Sponsored by Surtec.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner of 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including the most prestigious honor, Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news choice.
Welcome back to What You Need to Know and a Sign of the Times. The new twist on the iconic image in Brazil. Christ the Redeemer lit up as a doctor to celebrate healthcare workers there and around the world battling the coronavirus pandemic. Well, Dr. Jen Ashton joins us again with answers to your questions about the dangers of coronavirus. Dr. Jen, we'll start with the first one. Do we know if the severity of younger victims with COVID-19 virus has been linked to vaping?
Short answer, we don't know yet. Remember, the virus is just about 4 months old, so we're still in the stage of observation and accumulating and compiling the data based on cases, not just confirmed cases, but hospitalized cases and more severe cases. But we do know that something like smoking or vaping absolutely can affect lung tissue, lung function. We know from studies on influenza that it increases the risk of flu. So how or if it's related to people who are getting sick with COVID-19, we still have to learn.
All right, next question. Do you know if any data is being collected of patients' blood types correlating to the seriousness of symptoms and or recovery time?
Great question. So a small study out of China, they looked at about 2,100 people. This has not yet been peer-reviewed or published in a peer-reviewed journal, but they did look for association between blood type and susceptibility for COVID-19. And what they found was that people with type A blood had a higher risk or likelihood of getting sick with COVID-19, whereas people with type O blood, which we call the universal donor, had a significantly lower lower risk. Now, some qualifiers. We think that's because of the antibodies that are present in our blood with certain blood types to other blood types, but we don't know what kind of clinical relevance this will have since you can't change your blood type. So may it be used for healthcare workers to help stratify their risk? We don't know, but right now it's just an initial and very preliminary observation.
All right, well, this next question, you're going to have to explain what an ECMO machine is, because our viewer asked, can ECMO machines be used to help treat critical COVID-19 patients? I'm not even sure what that is, so please explain.
Well, yeah. I'm glad this viewer asked about that. So that brings into the spotlight this specialty in the healthcare arena known as perfusionists. These are the people who operate the heart-lung machine when someone's on bypass for cardiac surgery. ECMO, which stands for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, is basically taking the blood out of the body and oxygenating it when the lungs are failed. So there have been case reports, and it is being used spotty in treatment of patients who are critically ill with COVID-19. No firm guidelines or recommendations, but it's kind of being used as a last-ditch effort.
All right, our next question, Jen. Has there been thought of returning to cloth gowns and masks? In theory, we would be able to sanitize them faster.
There has been, and in fact, the FDA just issued guidelines on laundering cloth gowns. They are giving the hospitals the option of doing so. We have heard recently that hospitals are starting to use vaporized hydrogen peroxide to sanitize those N95 respirators, but certainly cloth gowns, as long as they're not being used for sterile surgery, the FDA has given the green light for hospitals to launder them with standard hospital disinfectants. So that hopefully some good news.
Yeah, certainly. All right. So our next question, and a lot of people have underlying conditions and are curious about how that's going to impact them. This viewer asks, I have MS and also take a med that's an immunosuppressant that says I'm prone to get infections easily. What does that mean to me in relation to COVID-19?
Short answer, Amy, it means that that person is at increased risk of not just COVID-19, but a range of other opportunistic infections or just regular community-acquired infections. And we have to remember, we heard about those vulnerable pre-existing medical conditions like heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, cancer. But there are so many people with compromised or weakened immune systems, people living with HIV, people who have had a form of transplant, people with autoimmune conditions or MS. The list goes on and on. Pregnancy is an immune-compromised condition. So we have to remember to think more broadly as we study various populations to really understand what their risk is to this disease.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Dr. Jen. And you can submit your questions to Dr. Ashton on her Instagram at Dr. J. Ashton. Well, after hearing New York City's call for help for healthcare workers to fight the growing coronavirus pandemic, one nurse traveled from his home in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania to help out. Luke Adams, a registered nurse for 11 years, is joining us now to share his story. First of all, thank you, Luke, for all that you do and continue to do. But what made you say, hey, I have to go to New York City, I have to go there, and I need to help?
I think every emergency or crisis calls on a different service. You know, when a hurricane hits, FEMA goes in. If a war comes, the military goes in. And it just so happened that this particular crisis was a respiratory disease that required critical care knowledge. And there's just not a whole lot of people out there who have that.
Yeah, you packed everything up and came and had nowhere to stay. In fact, I understand you slept in the back of your car on a crib mattress for 9 days. I'm hoping you now have a place to stay.
Yes, actually, I'm talking to you from the comforts of my hotel room, which the city of New York was nice enough to set up for me.
But how remarkable that you came here with willing to sleep in your car. And I know that you know, nurses, doctors, they're all being pushed to extreme limits. But you can see some positivity in all of this. Share with us what that is, because a lot of people need to hear that positivity.
Sure. I mean, I think first and foremost is that there's a heightened, you know, appreciation of the things that now matter. You know, we kind of all go through life. Sometimes we're all guilty of that, and we lose sight of the things that are most important. But when you're faced with an emergency, all that kind of gets stripped down to what really is important. And suddenly things like just being able to go home or hug your children or sleep next to your spouse. These are the things that, a lot of times we take for granted, and now they're becoming really important. The kindness from strangers, and the willingness of the recipients to then pay it forward. We kind of forget that it does feel really good to give, and everybody is giving right now, and it feels good. In terms of the medical community, some of the positives are, the doctors and nurses that are a part of this, whether you're training, whether you've been in practice, we're learning things we're learning to adapt to things that we never have before. And because of that, we're going to be, much better at our jobs. Things like that stand out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the little things that we all should remember, like being able to sleep next to your spouse or hug your children. You're far away from your family, and you have an 8-year-old and a 10-month-old. What do you hope they learn from you doing something so brave and selfless to help others?
Again, and I've said this before, if you have the ability to help others, I think that you have the responsibility to help, especially in something as serious as this. Where I can't just look to my left or my right and pick out a person and say, you go instead. So for me, the most important thing was, I can't ask everybody else to sacrifice if I'm not willing to do it myself. And, certainly, from those of us on the front line, we're asking the rest of America to sacrifice and stay home. And that's very difficult. So in order to be able to ask them to do that, I felt like I had to sacrifice. And so, mine is not being able to see my kids or hug them or sleep next to my spouse. But I want them to know that, those sacrifices really, they don't mean as much as, going through the rest of your life knowing that you didn't help when you could. That will stand out more than the 3 months that we spent apart from each other.
Well, Luke Adams, I know that we are all so grateful that there are people like you in the world willing to sacrifice so much. Stay safe, and please send your family love from us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And from the front lines in the hospitals to new rules at home, when we come back, co-parenting in the age of corona. Wayne Brady is here to share his family's story, their videos brightening up social media and our lives. And then Mr. Worldwide has a new tune tailor-made for these times. Pitbull is here, everybody. We'll be right back.
It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up. And what don't kill us make us stronger, boy. Bet that up.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Your mom said, comb your hair. Your dad told you, smarten up. Your dog is judging you right now. And your best friend just called you crazy. We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. Now imagine getting your news like that. No bull, no spin, just give it to me straight. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
The Americans here on the ground and the Iraqis.
18,000 tons. Patatas. Ismail? David.
Over ground zero from Hurricane Michael.
You can see just home after home.
David, nice to meet you.
This was your view.
My favorite bit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm grateful you woke up this morning.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, sunshine. We've been waiting for you. Say good morning. Good morning, sunshine. In America. Say good morning. I want you to wake me up.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Thursday, it's Jesse Reyes in a live morning concert. Only on Good Morning America. Sponsored by Surtech.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
At a time when we are redefining parenting and relationships because of the pandemic, some parents are finding unique ways to make it work, like Wayne Brady and his family bonding on social media. Take a look.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Wow, some family moves there. With us now is Emmy Award-winning actor, singer, comedian, and talk show host Wayne Brady. Wayne, thanks for being with us. The videos you're making with your family, lighting up the internet. Is the quarantine, has it brought you guys closer together?
Yes and no. Yes, we spend more time together, but in terms of being close, what you guys are seeing in those videos, that's just us. We just decided to start posting it. We have that bond just in life. The four of us, my ex-wife Mandy and my daughter Miley and Mandy's boyfriend Jason, we kind of have that silly, close bonded family nature anyway, so this just gives us more time to spend together.
Yeah, and you all just happen to be excellent dancers with incredible rhythm. I'm in awe of that. What's been the biggest challenge for you as a co-parent during this lockdown? You guys, I'm sure, look like you all get along great, but have there been challenges?
I think as a dad to a 17-year-old, the secret is not to crowd them, because we're all going through it right now, right? But the teenagers, especially high schoolers, they have this schedule, and they have a social